Welcome back to Marriage or Hell No. Fellas, I got a special one for you guys today. The only thing I'm going to tell you is shout out to the real ones who know. We just passed over 400 subscribers, and I want to say thank you to everybody. This is going to be a special edition for the community. I came across this video and I want to share it. Now, it is an older video, so I want you guys to kind of bear in mind with that. So the camera may be jumping around, but it is an older interview, but it is so spot on. And shout out to Sister Ali, because she is going to talk about something that we know has been plaguing the Black community for a long time. And I want to be able to share it here with the community. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of Vibrations. I'm Raven Geary. Today on our program, one of the hottest properties making the talk show circuit, Shahrazad Ali. An established writer indeed, Miss Ali is best known as the author of The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman. A very controversial and, if I may say so, a very critical view of life of today's Black woman. She joins us today in our studio, and of course, we'd like to welcome you today to Vibrations.
Well, thank you, Raven, for inviting me.
Basically, it's your premise that the Black woman is out of sync with the natural order of things. Can you explain that?
Well, it's a very sensitive subject. And certainly I believe that I have tried to approach it from a very sensitive angle. What I have actually said is that the Black woman's disrespect and rebellion against the leadership and the authority of the Black man is a direct cause of the breakdown in the Black family structure. It's not an attack on us as Black women. It's just saying that in the breakdown of any relationship, both parties have to take responsibility. And as Black women, we have been protected and insulated from any kind of examination about what our share of the responsibility is in the breakdown of the Black family. My book represents the first platform, certainly, that the Black man has ever had to air his grievances about the Black woman, because no one would ever listen to him. They have only listened to us.
She talks about something so important right there. It's about taking accountability for both parties. Now, this is a man's channel, and I tell men, what we need to do to be productive, but also making sure that we make sound relationship decisions. Now, other hand, when you're talking about Black women, on the other hand, Sister Ali here, Sister Ali was one of the first people to start talking about this. Now look at where we are. And you wish, at least I wish, that so many Black women would have a chance to really see this. So fellas, if you're out there, you're dating a sister, share this with her, get her thoughts on something like this. Hopefully she's not going to be rebellious, but Sister Ali is talking about something that we need to share within the community.
Can you tell us a little bit about the book itself? What brought you to this point of having to sit down and use your pen to write this book?
Well, actually, it was my first book. In 1985, I authored How Not to Eat Pork or Life Without the Pig. And at that time, I was going around doing what I was calling Get Off That Hog lectures. And during my travels, I noted that I would take the microscope and show people how you can't kill the trichina worm in pork by cooking it. Heat was not destroying the worm, and I would show them, the difference, and demonstrate how FDA was now using radiation to try to kill the worms in pork because cooking was not working, which is what we had always been told. And during that time, a lot of Black men were in agreement to get off eating pork. They wanted to change their eating habits, and they were happy to find out some information that might possibly save their lives. But it was Black women who were the most adamant, who refused to change meal planning techniques, seasoning food, cooking techniques. And so I said, that's interesting. I said, if we are refusing to provide the Black man with the proper physical food when we know that food is what sustains life, then what else are we withholding from him?
She hit it spot on right there. And fellas, I want to tell you guys a story here. It's just a little bit about me. Oftentimes, food is so very important. It is our life source. It is what allows us, gives us that fuel, that fire to go out here and be productive, to go out here and accomplish things. You have to have the proper nutrition in your diet to sustain your energy throughout a 10 to 12-hour day. Now, the experience I want to tell you guys about, let's tell you a little bit about my father. Father's a great man. He's been a great man in my life for a long time, and I'm just thankful to have him in my life. But one conflict that he often had that that Sister Ali just talked about was that with my mother, love my mother to death. But my mother, she never got on my father's program as far as food. My father has to be probably around 75 years old. Looks like he's probably 60 years old. Ran marathons, worked hard. I mean, hard manual labor, but he still found time to run marathons. He's been eating organic since he was 39 years old. But my mom just would not fix the food. She was so focused on the meals that she grew up with to where my dad even got tired of eating the food. And now my mom, fast forward, she's not in the same physical condition that my father is in because she didn't take her food seriously. And this is one thing that Sister Ali is talking about right here, is that it's very important for the Black woman to understand not only cooking, but what goes in to your man's nutrition. What nutrition goes into his system, his food breakdown. Does it give him the proper energy, or is it sugar, bad foods? And Black men have stepped away from that a long time ago. And that's the reason why so many sisters might be out of shape, because they've been pushing back and they don't understand the value of food. So I'm glad Sister Ali is talking about this. But let's keep going.
Possibly there's some other areas, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, that we are affecting his behavior by what we do or what we withhold and refuse to give. And that led me to try to find out. We've always heard that the Black man leaves the Black family, abandons his woman and children, won't take care of the children, won't work, stays out all night, turns into a drunk, takes drugs. We've heard a lot of negative things. Most of them are true. But I wanted to find out what happens before he gets to that point. What leads up to the breakdown? We've never gone back to try to find out what happens in the relationship between the Black man and a Black woman that makes him go off and do all of these bad things. To assume that this is just normal, natural behavior for Black men would be to assume that he is naturally bad. And I do not believe that the man that God gave to us as a mate is a naturally bad person. And so I wanted to try to examine what.
Hit it right there on the head. Fellas, don't believe the hype. We know, we have heard stories about Black men don't do this, Black men don't do that. We go out here, we leave our families, we're making babies, all this other stuff. All that stuff is not true. And the reason why it's not true is that in mass, let's remember, we are some of the most productive people out there. We grind hard for what we do. Fellas, don't let nobody take that away from you. As Black men, we do all right. And we know that if we're not doing all right, we're going to be in trouble along the way. So don't let nobody tell you that Black men don't do this and do that, because at the end of the day, we are trying to build our families and trying to support our families. But what we are seeing is that it is very hard with some of these women out here. And what Sister Ali is talking about, and hopefully Black men, we have to make better decisions about the women we are choosing, because if she is not going to get down with what Sister Ali is talking about that we need to let her know that this is the reason why we are not choosing to be with you at this current juncture.
What goes on with him? What's his side of the story?
Did a Black man ask you to write this book?
Oh, no, certainly not. I think they were just as surprised as Black women. Many of them approached the title of the book with a little apprehension, because they have not had a champion. We have never had a Black woman who actually stood up and said, I'm standing up for the Black man's side of the story. We know what our side is, and both sides are true. We have done some very dreadful things to each other. And I don't exonerate Black men, which is kind of a misconception that people have. I just say that we know his side. What about our side? And we do have a side. We have adopted some wrong standards. We are judging our men many times by the wrong value system. We are using his children sometimes against him. We have been told that the only benefit that a Black man provides in a home is money. And if he does not give us money to take care of those kinds of financial provisions, that he has no value. And what my research has proven to me is that a Black man, any man in any home, provides much more than financial support. The man provides guidance, instruction, discipline for the children, which we sorely need in our Black homes.
You heard it right there, fellas. Discipline is one of those many things, but it's so refreshing to hear a woman, even back then, talk about the breakdowns of the family and what value a man has. Men have, fellas, you as men have so many value propositions, and you don't understand that financial is one of them, but guidance, stability, you bring those things to the table. And that's the reason why we are seeing that with so many of these single mothers that we are having out here. That's the reason why these children are kind of out of pocket. They're out of order because they're not growing up in houses to where they understand what proper structure looks like. And it's so good to see a black woman come up here and say, look, black men have always been held accountable. They have been tried through a lot of stuff, and black men know what they need to do. But it's that point to where she's asking questions of women and then saying, what level of accountability do you have in participating in this breakdown? And that's when even she was getting pushback. And that's even well before where we are here at today. So it's so good to understand that you, black man, as the head of that household, you provide guidance, you provide structure, you provide sustainability in a reliable fashion for that family to progress forward, and for when you, the day you decide to build a family. See these children right here? They're smiling. They're gonna be just all right as long as that you are in their lives. And it's so good to hear Sister Ali talk about this.
Uh, he provides gratification, fulfillment, protection. I mean, there's so many other values, and these values are the ones that are missing in our children today, which is why many black children are in the street, out of control themselves, disrespectful, don't have any regard for anyone, and most of us are scared of them, and everybody else is, because nobody has a way into them to try to gain any control over them. So I maintain that a return to traditional family values, certain clearly defined gender responsibilities for black men and black women in running a home and a relationship will help us to produce a better child. And if we produce a better child, certainly we'll have a better future and a better nation.
Now, I paused it right there to say, fellas, you got to remember, us as black men, when we build our families, whether you see traditional families as one thing or another, or you have a different idea of them, it's important that you understand these roles and responsibilities. And regardless of what anybody tells you, black men have been up to that challenge since the day we got on this planet. And then also, I want you guys to remember that as black people, you have to understand our value system. Our value system has always been these two kids here. We have always tried to give the kids that came after us a better opportunity to succeed. So, what does that mean? That could mean that a man goes out there, he works hard, right? Back in those days, a man might have made $40,000, but he tried to do enough and provide stability so that way when he had children, those children can grow up and these children can flourish and then become successful. So, what's a successful look like? Successful in this case could mean that this brother went from where the father was making 40,000 to where that child now can make 60. The next generation of that grandchild now can be up to 80 and 100 and scale numbers higher. But it's always starting with that foundation. That building block has always been you. And it's always important to make sure that you guys understand this. So that way, when you're building out your family and what you want your family to look like, you set them up for success. And black men have been always up for that challenge because we care about the youth. Remember that. You heard what my thoughts are on it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. But please, I would say definitely, I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in and watching this video. I know the video was a little choppy, but it's important to understand that if we want to make it back to this place, if we want to keep going down that road and then make it to this place, it starts with what a lot of what Sister Ali was talking about in this video. So till the next time, marriage or hell nah. And shout out to the real ones who know they got our backs out here, fellas.